5 minutes to the top of the hour. A reminder, the news doesn't end here. Here's what's coming up on WCNC Plus at 7.
Grief councils are on hand here at Pageland Elementary School after a fourth grader was shot and killed over the weekend. Police continue to investigate.
3 people were killed in shootings across Charlotte over the weekend. We'll have the latest on the investigations as police search for suspects coming up.
Plus, the man accused of shooting and killing 3 people from a boat at an Eastern North Carolina bar faces a judge today.
Sadly, a lot of the victims in this case appear to be not members of our community, but people who are here on vacation.
How Governor Josh Stein plans to support victims and the community during his visit today. Plus, 1 year after Hurricane Helene devastated Boone, neighbors spent the weekend together to heal and reflect.
And that's kind of what this event's about. People that live through it and are still recovering themselves, but also looking to help neighbors at the same time.
How folks are still recovering mentally this morning and leaning on their community to help.
And it's a question parents have a lot. Is it ever okay to leave your kids at home alone?
Our Verified team breaks down what parents need to know this morning. Those stories and much more live, local, and breaking news coming up on WCNC Plus.
All right, one thing to know this morning, one lane is now blocked because of a crash. It's on I-77 southbound at exit 31, so allow for a few extra minutes for your drive time.
And today is the coolest day with the highest rain chance. After that, we have the mid to the upper 70s, so a nice little change, feeling more fall-like. We'll be live streaming on WCNC Plus. See you over there.
I've seen guys.
Streaming live right now at 7 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. A live look outside on this Monday morning. Things are pretty calm now, but you should expect some rain today as our chances for rain go up as the day progresses. Let's find out more about our forecast with Chris.
But first, I want to get to these two because, boy, have you probably heard a lot of different scenarios of what's going to happen with these. Well, for one, this is over the last 48 hours. Umberto became a monster, the 44th Category 5 in Atlantic hurricane history. Meanwhile, you might not notice right away, but this is a tropical storm. It took a long time for Imelda to get going, even moving, and that was really the saving grace because since Umberto sped up, that officially is now going to blast Imelda back out to sea. Most recent update, 5 a.m. for the advisory, 45-mile-per-hour winds. The next one that's really going to adjust this cone I'm about to show you will be at 11 o'clock. There'll still be some intermediate updates between the 8s and the 2s of the next 12 hours. And then Hurricane Umberto, check this out. You're going to see a big turn back out to sea. That's what you want to see, but it is going to be strong enough to really influence what Imelda is going to do. But meanwhile, we do have some excessive rain impacts. Pretty much all the Carolinas will have a chance for at least some low-end flooding, especially along the shorelines. And once you get to Tuesday, don't worry about it after 8 o'clock. So another look at Hurricane Umberto. Right now, 130-mile-per-hour winds, Category 4. Again, downgrading from Category 5, and next stop will be actually Category 3. Here's Tropical Storm Imelda. 5 a.m. advisory, 45 miles per hour, as I already showed you, but this is a hard right turn. It's crazy. And this is going to be up to about hurricane strength the middle of tomorrow afternoon, even challenging Category 2 once it gets a little bit closer to Bermuda, and then after that is going to be weakening. But still, Tropical Storm Imelda could have been a big story here in the Carolinas, especially some of the scenarios that were panning out on Thursday heading into Friday. This is amazing that this turned out this way. So literally, started off the middle of last week talking about Fujiwara. That's where you have two low pressure systems within proximity to each other start to rotate around center axis. And the way that we can see that on some of our models is whenever the sea level pressure literally connects the two. So you almost have a figure 8 going on here, one tightly compacted, much stronger. So that is dragging Imelda out to sea. That's why you have such that harsh turn to the right instead of usually that gradual bend that happens around the Bermuda High and stuff like that. And then this will not fare well for Bermuda, but at least Bermuda didn't get hit by the Category 5 storm or Category 4 at this point. Now we wait for the next one up, Jerry, and then followed by Karen. So we shall see, but that is not in the forecast over the next 7 days at the moment. Likely we'll see rain today. I think more so this evening and overnight. So kind of temper rain expectations, especially west of I-77. Then we're dry pretty much mid to late afternoon. But here's what all that looks like. Check out the rain. This is the more aggressive model. So this is the one that I want you to kind of prepare for, but don't be surprised if you don't have a lot going on with it. You're seeing rain expand to the I-77 corridor either side of noon, but further west you go, Shelby, you're barely even seeing anything, maybe a trace to a few 1/100ths of an inch of rain. Period of rain I think could last a couple of hours for some, but the further east you go, Albemarle, Wadesboro, Rockingham, you're going to see most of these showers. But notice how everything really starts to fill in the gaps later this evening, overnight, heading into tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, I think we have wet roads. It could be kind of a rough start to your morning commute, but this rain gradually is going to get out of here. So I think the worst of the rain, the worst impacts will be later this evening, so pretty much after sunset and before sunrise. So that's kind of the spot that I think most of the rain is going to fall. By your Tuesday afternoon, things slowly getting out of here. Good news. And then eventually the sun will come out by about Wednesday. Could even see a little bit of sunshine for Tuesday, not so much today. And then Thursday, it is feeling great. No problem as far as that mugginess is concerned. So our Jerry Hunt Super 7-day forecast, this is what I like to see. Come on, everybody. Back up to 80 degrees, but that's not a humid 80, so that's going to be nice. 74, 75, feeling perfectly fall-like for October 2nd and the 3rd. Heading into the first October weekend, upper 70s with a great feel to the air. No real rain chances after Tuesday. So a really good looking forecast. I don't know, does traffic this good looking?
I don't think you can compete with that.
Okay.
Definitely not. Not this time of the day, that's for sure. Let's get to it. South Carolina, good morning to you. This is I-77 at Gold Hill. We can see area roadways nice and dry. Traffic continues to flow just fine. Not seeing any significant delays there. Drive times, though, now that we're in that 7 o'clock hour, they will continue to go up. It's going to take you around 45 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia. Do want to let you know about an ongoing crash. You can see it right here. Traffic is going to be slow right around it. A police officer there on scene. I'm going to show you exactly where it's at as we switch it over to my map right here. I-77 out towards Mount Morn. You can see that orange, meaning that traffic, it's moving slowly. One lane is blocked because of it. It's on I-77 southbound at exit 31 Langtree Road. In addition to that, we saw a little bit of patchy to even dense fog this morning. Not really seeing that for your morning commute anymore. Still seeing some rain starting to trickle in, mainly east of I-77. So some of us will have a few raindrops for your morning commute. Otherwise, this accident is still active right here. Look at all of those backups. This is going to be on 277, so right around the Queen City. Eastbound lane is going to be impacted at exit 2A, that's McDowell Street. And then another thing that we're watching here is going to be just off to the east. This is where we do have an active crash. This is a picture of it this morning. One lane is blocked because of it. W.T. Harris Boulevard eastbound at Statesville Road. It is an injury incident, and those delays on Independence, they're still ongoing, but they're starting to take down the barricades. So again, one lane just open at this point, but I think it's going to quickly clear. Lisa.
Majestic, thanks. 7:06 now. This morning, a community in Pageland, South Carolina is grieving after a 9-year-old child was shot and killed outside a convenience store. 11 people, including 7 juveniles, are in custody in connection to the shooting. WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane is live this morning, sharing how people in the area say this community is paying the price for the rise in violence. Richard.
Yeah, good morning to you, Lisa. Good morning, Ben. Good Monday morning, everyone. People in this community upset. The last time we were here in Pageland, it was involving a student who was shot and killed at a festival in downtown. Now today we're back because of this time an elementary school student shot and killed at a nearby convenience store. Police say someone shot and killed a 9-year-old at the Blue Sky Mart convenience store's parking lot. This happening over the weekend. Unfortunately, that child died. Police say 7 minors, 4 adults are now in custody after the shooting. As police continue to investigate what led up to the event, and they have not released details about any suspects or motives. The tragedy is hitting the community hard. Pageland Elementary School, where the child was a student, will have grief counsels on hand today to help classmates and staff process this terrible loss. Parents urged to talk to their children and reach out to the school if they need additional support. But some residents we spoke with say they're both sad and angry that these types of crimes continue, and they say parents can help stop them.
I pulled up social media and I saw the headline. And the first thing I thought was, this must be an old headline. This can't be happening again.
Another kid got shot in the leg down here, and another kid got shot on the other side of town the same day within the same hour. It's really sad because I really feel like the parents, because it's younger people that's doing it, so I really feel like the parents are need to buckle down on their kids because it's horrible.
We're a small town. We're not used to this, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah, no one should be getting used to this. At this time, police say this is still an active investigation, and folks with information about what happened at that gas station, they're asked to give police a call. Of course, as we get additional information, we'll give it to you. We're right here in Chesterfield County. Richard Devane, we'll send it back to you.
Certainly not something that any community should get used to. All right, Richard, thank you for that. Ahead here on WCNC Plus, people devastated over another mass shooting. We hear from witnesses about the moment shots rang out inside a church.
7:11 right now on WCNC Plus, and today the man accused of killing 3 people near Wilmington over the weekend is expected in court for the first time. Police say Nigel Edge opened fire on folks at a waterfront bar in Southport and fired the shots from a nearby boat. 5 others also hurt. Police say they detained the suspect about 30 minutes later in nearby Oak Island. The bar where the shooting happened, American Fish Company, is closed indefinitely.
When the dust settled, 8 people were shot, 3 of them are dead, and at least 1 is now clinging for their life. I want to tell you that the group of people that stand behind me now awoke this morning with a firm resolve to seek maximum justice in this case.
Governor Josh Stein will be in Southport today to discuss the shooting with law enforcement. That bar is closed indefinitely.
Trending this morning, at least 4 worshipers are dead, 8 more injured after a horrific attack during a Sunday service at a church in the township of Grand Blanc, Michigan. Police say an ex-Marine crashed his vehicle through the front doors of that sanctuary, jumping out and then starting shooting. Then he set the place on fire. NBC's Jay Gray this morning with what we learned overnight.
Overnight, federal agents, police, and firefighters continuing to work the scene. Investigators searching the suspect's home, as a stunned community also searches for answers.
We have also witnessed the result of wicked rule in our county, state, and nation.
Flames and a spray of gunfire ripping through a Sunday service at a Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in Grand Blanc Township, Michigan.
We heard a big bang and it blew the doors in the church, and then everything after that was chaos.
Chaos, leaving at least 4 dead, 8 injured. Carried out, police say, by this man, 40-year-old ex-Marine Thomas Jacob Sanford.
He drove his vehicle through the front doors of the church. He then exited his vehicle, firing several rounds at individuals within the church.
Also, allegedly setting fire to the sanctuary, worshipers instantly shifting to heroes as the killing spree unfolds.
They were shielding the children who were also present within the church, moving them to safety. Just hundreds of people just practicing their faith. Just extreme courage.
The horrific attack ending as police rush in, fatally shooting the suspect in the church parking lot. Jay Gray, NBC News, Grand Blanc, Michigan.
7:14 right now on WCNC Plus. Up next, the Panthers fall hard on the road. Our sports team breaks down who takes the blame for Sunday's embarrassing loss. Welcome back to WCNC Plus. Live pictures right now over Myrtle Beach this morning, where you can see it's a bit rainy out there, but hey, that's nothing, because the good news is, especially after we started the weekend thinking one thing, now we can say Tropical Storm Imelda and Hurricane Umberto now tracking away from the Carolinas, thank goodness. Both North and South Carolina have declared a state of emergency ahead of that possibility. The governor, Josh Stein, as well as South Carolina's Governor Henry McMaster, and other emergency officials recommended building a disaster supply kit just in case for anything with some possible chances of rain.
The good news is that the storm probably will stay out in the ocean. But still, a lot of rain, strong winds, and serious flooding is going to happen, and it could happen way up in the Midlands. We don't know where it's going to go.
Governor Stein also set to share some updates on the storm today during his visit to Southport. All right, Chris.
And of course, that was over the weekend. There was still the outside possibility that, oh, maybe it could turn back. No, this is a pretty concrete path that Imelda is going to take that hard shift further off towards the east. Umberto is just too big of a player at this point. But before, Imelda was following more of this path with this upper level low. Instead, it's going to be the strong push along with the steering current of the Bermuda High that's off towards the east. And then just in general, Umberto just kind of catching it in its wind field as well. So here's what the two storms look like whenever you have this big interconnective line right here. This is constant line of sea level pressure. So that is just showing that you have a shared windshield, kind of a case of the Fujiwara. They don't quite twist around. It's really just almost Umberto trying to lead the same type of path, but then Umberto outruns this. They start to separate from one another, and then eventually Imelda will push through past Bermuda. So let's hope everything is going to go well, and maybe some changes there for Bermuda as well. Over here in Lowesville, well, it's not the prettiest start to the day, and let's go to another one of our high up cameras. We have a shot over here in Dallas, a decent amount of cloud cover. I think the most sunshine that you're going to see today is during the morning time. Then those thicker clouds are really going to move back in, and our rainfall totals are all over the place. And so I'm going to let you know, there is a possibility that we're only going to be seeing up to, say, up to 1/10 of an inch of rain, while others are seeing more isolated showers and storms. This one looks kind of, I think you can split the difference. Up to about 1 inch of rain is going to be a possibility. Some areas seeing a little bit more, and here's what that looks like on our futurecast. Futurecast expanding a lot more rain the further east that you go, and then we start to see signs of rain, certainly some darker clouds by the early to mid-afternoon. I think Charlotte's going to have a few pulses of rain, but there are going to be several dry hours as well. I think most of the rain that does fall, though, as we're seeing here, is overnight heading into tomorrow. So a max of 1 to 2, but many areas seeing less than 1 inch. Once the sun rises up, we're starting to erode this one band of rain as Imelda is turning back off towards the east. That's going to take away some of that moisture, and then we'll start to dry out after that. Our rainfall chance is actually pretty low as we head in the middle of next week, really not ramping up to that isolated range until Monday and beyond. That, of course, is next Monday. Let's get over to Majestic. Up and down usually this time in the morning. Let's see what direction we are.
All right, looking kind of down right now. We're going to start with this. This is I-77 southbound out towards Davidson. This is going to be while you're driving southbound going over the water right here. You can see one of the lanes currently blocked. There is an ongoing accident. You can see the police officer right there. Cars are still able to get by. They're just moving rather slowly but very carefully. Still on the same accident, you can see that backup right here. Again, one lane is blocked because of a crash. I-77 southbound and exit 31 specifically. And again, that's out towards Davidson. As far as what we're seeing big picture perspective, all green on I-40 if you're traveling today. I-77, I-85 not looking too terribly bad. A little bit of rain starting to move in out towards areas like Wadesboro. Now we're looking at 277. Our typical backups are ongoing, but I do want to let you know about this crash right here. We do have those impacts. There's going to be a crash on 277 eastbound lanes, exit 2A. That's McDowell Street. So do keep this in mind if you're heading out the door. We'll have another check on those area roadways coming up here in just a bit.
Well, this morning, the Carolina Panthers are still searching for answers after yesterday's disappointing performance.
The Panthers were blown out by the New England Patriots 42-13. Carolina did score in the first quarter, but after that, the Patriots scored 42 unanswered points. WCNC Charlotte's Danielle Stein and Locked On's Julian Council discussed the team's problems.
But you brought up the topic of the day, and that is potentially this conversation around Dave Canales, maybe in terms of his role as a play caller, maybe his role in terms of being the head coach of the Carolina Panthers. He was questioned after this loss in the post-game press conference, and he was taking a lot of ownership over the mistakes. I think we said his words were that he is the common denominator across the problems. What do you make of comments like that? And do you think that can amount to anything else?
Yeah, I'm concerned about Dave Canales. And like you bring up what Drake May has around him compared to what Carolina, when healthy, will have around Bryce Young. But they are 2-2, yes, New England is. It's a one-score loss against the Raiders. It's a one-score loss against the Pittsburgh Steelers a week ago. You look at Carolina, they got blown out by Jacksonville. 3-1, just won in San Francisco today. So obviously a good football team. You're getting blown out by Arizona before you start scoring much points in garbage time and then make that look more competitive than it actually was. And then, of course, you blow out Atlanta last week and you get embarrassed again on the road today. So, like, maybe Drake doesn't have a lot around him, but clearly the coaching, the infrastructure is getting that football team collectively to play well. And yes, Dave Canales did say his own words, not my words, not your words, not anybody's, that he is the common denominator when things are not going well in all three phases. Does not want to change the play caller. He feels like he still is the right guy to move the offense forward. But you can't look at what he's done through these first 21 games and not be concerned. Because this stinks. David Tepper, he is to blame for all of this. Let's not forget that. He's probably tired of going out here and going on the road and being embarrassed for all these owners. It's his own fault because he's the one who hired Dave Canales. No one in the NFL wanted to interview Dave Canales 2 years ago, or I guess last year, except for the Carolina Panthers. And he took the job, which, go ahead. Generational wealth makes sense, your opportunity, maybe the only chance you get. He took it. But no one else wanted to talk to him. And David Tepper's put himself in a situation with hiring Matt Rule and firing Frank Reich after 11 games in the season to where not a ton of people are going to want this job other than you get a lot of money, especially after you likely get fired because Tepper has not done a great job of identifying who should be the general manager, not to put Dan Morgan on a hot seat, or Dave Canales so far at this point in time at head coach, Frank Reich, Matt Rule before that. I want to see what they look like moving forward because we did see some fight out of this team at the end of last season. It shouldn't take until week 11 to get there, but I would like to see how they perform moving forward in these next couple games against teams that are on a comparable level, and then even how they stack up when Buffalo comes to town, and that's going to look like Ralph Wilson Stadium South, unfortunately, in all likelihood, when they play the Bills here in Charlotte. Sorry, they all live here, but that will be a game I look to where if they continue to struggle and they get blown out against Buffalo with 70% Bills fans, that'll be much like a couple years ago when Matt Rule and his team got blown out in front of basically a home game for San Francisco. So I'm concerned. Not putting him on the hot seat yet, but we're getting close to that.
All right, folks, we're going to take a quick break right now, but make sure you keep it right here on WCNC Plus. Another check of weather and traffic in just 2 minutes, and the day's top headlines streaming live at 7:30.
Not the greatest of Mondays. A Monday kind of with the case of the Mondays. We're seeing increasing clouds, rain further off towards the east, and we'll have increasing rain chances as well. Now, Charlotte has a better chance for rain right around the afternoon, but I think more so overnight tonight. So let's expect occasional showers today. And when it's not raining, well, it's going to feel or at least look like it's going to rain. But especially after the sun sets to before the sun rises overnight tonight and into your Tuesday morning, that's where I think most of the rain is going to fall across the greater Charlotte area before eventually starts to wind down and we dry out. And then it feels like fall again, actually feeling great Thursday, Friday, heading the first weekend of October. So crazy to see that. Just anticipate rain for the near term, at least not affecting your morning commute. Majestic has more on that.
Good Monday morning, everyone. Area roadways are definitely getting busy as people are now waking up and starting their day at 7:27. Drive times are definitely increasing. About 40 minutes if you're coming in from Gastonia. This is I-77 just north of Griffith. We are looking at nice conditions there as well. We do have a couple of accidents to let you know about. This one here definitely started to build some traffic delays here, but they've actually just cleared it. But up until it's completely cleared, you may still have some delays. It's on I-77 southbound at exit 31. That's Langtree Road. I'll go over the rest of the incidents this morning on WCNC Plus.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 7:30 on this Monday. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. This morning, CMPD investigating 3 separate deadly shootings that happened over the weekend.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards joins us live this morning with what we know about each investigation. Destiny.
Yeah, definitely not a great situation. All these 3 deadly shootings happened within 24 hours. The first being on Friday morning in Southwest Charlotte, followed by 2 other shootings in the overnight hours on Saturday morning. Now, the first shooting happened again Friday morning at the Woodspring Suites off West Airwood Road. Police say 37-year-old Tiara Love Torrey Jackson was shot and killed after a disturbance inside the hotel. Later that day, officers arrested 33-year-old Darius D. Marshall, who's now charged with murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Then early Saturday morning, just after 2 a.m., officers responded to Hollow Creek Circle in University City. They found 31-year-old Brenton Terrell Samuels dead at the scene. Another person was also shot and is recovering in the hospital. Just 2 hours later, around 4 a.m., police were called to East Independence Boulevard after reports of shots fired outside a business. CMPD says there was an altercation that escalated into gunfire.
There were 3 uniformed CMPD officers in marked vehicles nearby working in an off-duty capacity. Those officers immediately responded and found 3 subjects who had been shot.
One of those victims, 31-year-old Sean Tellison Davis II, later died at the hospital. CPD says both Saturday shootings remain under investigation, and detectives are still collecting evidence and searching for suspects. Anyone with information is urged to call 704-432-TIPS, or you can leave an anonymous tip through Charlotte Crime Stoppers. Now, that first shooting on Friday is the only one that we know that there's been an arrest in, that Friday shooting at a hotel. Of course, we'll continue to check in with police this morning for any updates on those other 2 shootings that happened on Saturday. Live in Uptown, I'm Destiny Richards, WCNC Charlotte.
All right, Destiny, thank you for that.
Those 3 shootings come as members of Congress head to Charlotte for a field hearing on violent crime. Lawmakers are going to hear from victims' families, police, and even a local bail bondsman. The focus, repeat offenders and whether lenient pretrial release policies are putting communities at risk. That hearing starts at 10 this morning at the federal courthouse on West Trade Street. Now let's check back in with Chris now to get the latest on our forecast. Thankfully, we are getting some much needed rain and we are not seeing Imelda.
Oh, thank goodness. Today could have been a completely different deal. I would have been showing you all the different scenarios, the impacts, weather alerts, red bars, but instead we're just talking about a cooler, a cloudy, and a wet day. Now, it does look like 82 to 71 is kind of going to be a shock and awe of the system, and it's not also going to be an all-day rain for Charlotte and areas west. Now, areas the further east you go, you're going to be seeing a lot more rain, as we're already starting to see in some of our cameras, seeing some active rain here in Monroe. Dallas still pointing off towards the west where we're seeing some glimmers of sunshine. Meanwhile, our Charlotte camera about an hour ago was showing a little bit of blue sky. This is pointing directly towards the east. That's where all the clouds are coming from. So here it is. On our surface map, we are seeing some active rain right here around Stanley, now pushing into Monroe. Dealing with a little bit of rain here and there, but the heaviest rain is right along the shoreline, especially here in the eastern side of the state along the South Carolina, North Carolina border. All this is swinging its way further off towards the west. You can see where those clouds are pushing from out of the south, so that's filling in some moisture in between these fronts, which is going to lead to more widespread rain. So not a picture-perfect start to your Monday, but I was able to adjust our Futurecast. So Futurecast, the best tool that we have here is to kind of see where things are right now. And this updates every hour, at least this model that I have, and I was able to line things up pretty well. So I think this is a brand new look at our Futurecast. Again, Charlotte, I think, sees a little bit of light rain, but as you can see, most of that rain is from Greensboro down through around Fayetteville and in between Raleigh and really Salisbury. But we will start to see a little bit more scattered rain either side of noon. So I think the best way to describe today is a cloudy day where it's either raining or it looks like it's going to rain, because not a lot of sunshine to go around, and the heaviest rain is further off towards the east. I think that we get a decent dose of rain as we're working our way through the overnight. Now, some trends are that this is going to be a little bit more north, but in general, we're going to still have scattered rain, on and off, and then all of us can agree that by the middle of the afternoon, I think we're going to be rain-free and then slowly starting to break up that cloud cover as well. So here's a better look over the next 36 hours. What's happening? We have those fronts that are dancing from either side, and eventually we give way, break up all that cloud cover, and that's going to settle in for a much more comfortable forecast as well. So check out our precipitation chances. Everything pretty much levels out from your Wednesday over to Saturday before they start to uptick again. Our high temperatures, not high today, feeling more like late October. We'll have a couple of comebacks to around that 80-degree point. Feeling perfect, by the way, in the mid-70s on Thursday and Friday. Not dealing with that muggy air whatsoever, but we'll see it come back into the lower 80s. Still feeling great, though, as we complete our first week of October. Unbelievable that September is almost done with. Coming up, I'm going to have a closer look at Imelda Umberto. What happened? Why we have this rare setup that it literally took a sharp turn off toward the right. That and more coming up. But the more right now is Majestic with your morning traffic.
Good morning, everyone. Well, still keeping a close eye on everything for you. Of course, it's starting to get quite busy out there. 7:36 if you're heading out the door anytime soon. This is I-77 just north of Griffith. We did have an accident right around this this area earlier. It has since been cleared, but notice that traffic is still moving very, very slowly for your morning commute. So this is right around where it is. Again, it actually is cleared, but one lane was blocked, so now we're just trying to get through everything. That's starting to move more inbound towards the uptown area. In addition to that, I want to let you know that this has not been cleared. This is a crash on I-277. Eastbound lanes being impacted at exit 2A. That's McDowell Street. And then I've also had my eyes on Independence all morning long. Some construction was really slowing people down for their morning commute. At one point, we had just one lane that was open. That has since been cleared, but notice those ongoing backups are still there. So if you just want to avoid it because of that congestion, you can always just take Monroe Road or Central Ave to try to get around it. And then good morning to everyone waking up in York County out towards Fort Mill. You look okay, but once you hit the county line right here, that's where we start to see that congestion. No accidents there, just more people heading towards Charlotte.
This weekend at Truist Field, the United Way hosted its first longest table event. It features, of course, a long table with nearly 1,500 people, hundreds of people from all walks of life coming together to share a meal and share some stories. It's something United Way's president and CEO hopes will foster a better community for the Queen City.
We all want the same things for our families. We all want the same things for our community. So what I'm really hoping comes out of today, as I said, is that shared vision for Charlotte.
It was really a great discussion. I had the pleasure of being one of the table facilitators.
Yeah.
I mean, people who you wouldn't ordinarily talk to, but all coming together. The food was really good. Brunch items. And just great to talk about your experience being in Charlotte, what you like to see in the city, what you like, what you don't like. Really good conversation there.
Sometimes it takes something as simple as that, just sitting down and having a meal together with people.
For sure.
To talk things out and talk about issues that you're like, oh, we have so much in common.
And somebody that you typically wouldn't sit next to.
Exactly.
And then you kind of meet somebody new along the way.
And a different perspective.
Yeah.
Very cool.
All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break, I do believe.
That's right. Help for cancer patients. What researchers made to reduce a common side effect when it comes to chemo. Welcome back to WCNC Plus. Time now is 7:41. There are changes coming to SNAP benefits that could impact thousands of folks here in North Carolina. It's all part of the big, beautiful bill, which included massive cuts.
WCNC Charlotte's Tanya Rivera verifies what families need to know and when those new requirements start.
Our sources are Kim Chase and Chantel Williams from the Economic Services Division in Forsyth County, as well as H.R. 1. H.R. 1, Section 10102 is titled modifications to SNAP work requirements for able-bodied adults. In short, it changes which individuals are now subject to work or go to school and those requirements.
To meet work requirements, you have to have 80 hours of either paid employment per month, or you are in school 80 hours a month, 20 hours a week, or you are in a trade, getting some type of vocational work.
To get SNAP benefits, you need to go to work or go to school, and there are exemptions. For example, this is the current list. But H.R. 1 changes these exemptions. Now, you have to be working or go to school if you have a dependent over the age of 14, if you're a veteran under the age of 64, if you're homeless under the age of 64, and if you're a foster kid ages 18 to 24. Now, these changes could impact about 500,000 people in North Carolina alone. They will need to find a job or enroll in some sort of schooling. In 50 counties in our state, NCDHHS operates the More Than a Job NC program. It helps folks meet that school requirement and much more.
The courses are paid for. We also provide supportive services such as bus passes or gas cards. We are able to increase their career potentials, their earning potentials, and it really leads to self-sufficiency.
So we can verify there are changes coming to SNAP benefits, and more people will have to meet employment and school requirements when it's expected to be implemented before the end of the year.
Tanya Rivera with that report. New developments in the fight against cancer. A Michigan State University researcher developing a gel that can help cancer patients keep their hair when they're going through chemo.
This could be a game changer for so many people out there. As NBC's Isley Herschel reports, it's something researchers say can change the game for cancer patients.
Chemotherapy and hair loss, two things that tend to go hand in hand. But this gel developed at Michigan State University could change that for cancer patients.
I think definitely not losing hair, it can maintain their confidence.
Researchers with MSU developed a water-based gel that works to help people going through chemotherapy save their hair.
It would touch your scalp and it would slowly release a drug that constricts your blood vessels and thereby decreases the chances or the likelihood that the chemotherapy that's running through a cancer patient's veins would enter into the hair follicles and either damage or destroy them.
It uses adrenaline and lidocaine, both drugs commonly found throughout hospitals, and it works just as easily as shampoo.
Just like a shampoo, the patient can put it on the hair scalp as long as the gels should be on the scalp. It can do its job, and once they're done, they can just wash it away by a little bit cold water.
One researcher who worked to develop the gel, Brian Smith, says there are some cancer patients who risk not going through chemotherapy just so they can save their hair.
Having a solution like this could be a game changer. It could actually support their chemotherapy. It could make it better or even allow them to say yes to chemotherapy.
Hair is something a lot of people present to the world, and Smith says this gel can improve the confidence and self-esteem of cancer patients.
It really could be a game changer for so many people.
I mean, because that's the thing, as she said, you present your hair to the world. It's a big thing, and being able to keep it for some is really important.
Sure. All right, up next, the efforts to help people heal 1 year after Helene.
7:47 now. 1 year after Hurricane Helene tore through western North Carolina, downtown Boone turned remembrance into resilience. The Hope After Helene event on the anniversary brought together neighbors, artists, and advocates for a day of healing, reflection, and unity. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King spoke with attendees who say it's not just about looking back, but about how far the community has come since the storm.
Hope After Helene turned the streets of downtown Boone into spaces of healing 1 year after the devastating storm. The day began with a community quilting project demonstrating patchworks of memories, pain, and hope.
Quilt squares that I'm making, I'm recreating a picture of our barn that actually got picked up by the water and was ripped in half. And I haven't looked at that picture very much since then, so it's kind of bringing back a lot of those emotions.
Those emotions stitched into each square alongside the comfort of sharing them with others.
This is, where the water has come through the mountains and it's ripped open these roads and bridges, and yet immediately what everyone did was go to start fixing them and go to start finding each other and connecting with each other.
Later in the day, residents attended a community resource fair.
But there's also a large emotional toll that this storm has taken. So even when there are big storms, like we had a couple of nights ago or even last night, it makes people anxious that another storm might be coming.
So residents were provided a space filled with poetry readings, recovery services, and group discussions about rebuilding emotionally and spiritually.
And that's kind of what this event's about. People that live through it and are still recovering themselves, but also looking to help neighbors at the same time.
The day also saw live music from local artists, keynote speakers, and community.
So amazing that we could go from something so intensely broken to so full of community and love for each other.
I think if anything, we're a stronger community today because of Hurricane Helene.
Of course, we spent part of our weeks last week up in Boone, and I will say, part of the things that was good about being there was that it's home to App State. So you had a bustling college campus that was going about its day. Some of those students probably weren't even there when Helene happened a year ago, and everything just back to normal. Of course, if you're familiar with the area and you start driving back in some of the valleys and hollows, you see the damage and you know what happened. But
it is still very clear to see the damage. But the good thing, as you said, people aren't dwelling on Helene saying, oh, woe is me. Right? I mean, there is definitely still a lot that needs to be done. But as she said, the community is maybe stronger because of Helene. They really rallied together.
I love it.
I loved how you guys highlighted the small businesses too and going. And even those ones that, like you mentioned, like you probably drove past them a dozen times every time you go to the mountains, but now making that effort to stop and to support them and to see those small little gems along the way while you're going to the mountains.
As the kids said, say less. Anita Shop.
There you go. She's a one-woman crew right here trying to restore the economy of the mountains.
I did my part.
You did your part. I love it.
Well done. And they've been encouraging people to come up there open, especially this season, because
October is one of their biggest months. It's between October and July, so they really need the help.
And things are starting to turn ever so slightly. It's still very early, but then it's really, I think, over the next few weeks that you got to plan to go up there. It's definitely a can't miss, because this time last year, that was not the case in scenario. So many roads. I believe there was a count at one point about 1,500 roads were closed doing traffic. But then real quick look at our current count for the 2025 Hurricane Progress Report. Well, we had Umberto that officially became a Category 5 storm. That's right, the 44th one that we've had in the Atlantic hurricane history. And that actually puts us ahead of schedule for what we usually have for the number of major hurricanes to this point. As far as hurricanes go, we are behind. Typically, we have about 5 hurricanes to this date, September 29th, and we're almost on par to what we usually have, usually up to the letter I to J at this point. So pretty close. We did a nice little catch up, but I real quickly want to show you what's next. We are expecting Jerry, Karen, Lorenzo, Melissa, and Nestor as the next storms that are on tap. So I'm really hoping that we have a ways to wait for Jerry and Karen. I hope that we're as lucky as we were with Umberto and Imelda. So Umberto, which by the way, this H name originated from after Hugo. When Hugo was retired on this hurricane list, Humberto officially replaced it and has been there since they duplicated the list in 1995. And this is the first time that Humberto has become a Category 5 hurricane up to 160 miles per hour. This name will be recycled. Becoming a Category 5 only is going to be significant for retiring a name, and if it does cause significant damage, and at this point it does not look like that's going to be the case. Just a fish storm and a near miss for areas such as Bermuda, so good news there as well. Let's take a look at a couple of the tracks that we're anticipating. First off, starting with Imelda, because that's the bigger deal. We could have been talking about a big scenario, but the reason why we have such a difference here compared to what we were talking about on Friday, well, for one, the track on Wednesday is exactly what's going to happen here because of Humberto moving faster and Imelda moving slower. Imelda got too caught up right around the mountains of Hispaniola and the southern part of the Bahamas. It really wasn't until the last 24 hours that really started to get going. That's why officially yesterday it became Tropical Storm Imelda. And look at how quickly it veers out to sea. Before it was looking like it could move a little bit further north. That would have been more impacts along the Carolina coast. You're still looking at dangerous surf, don't get me wrong. I think you're going to still have some double red flags, meaning that the beaches are closed, dangerous rip currents, but it's wasting no time getting out of here, but will eventually work its way into around Bermuda. So good news there. Not so much for Bermuda, but hey, it could be a whole lot worse. They could be impacted by Humberto that is now still a weaker end Category 4. So that is your tropical update, and I'll have another look at what you can expect here in Charlotte from the rain indirectly coming from Imelda. But first, let's see how our morning commutes faring. Majestic, what's going on?
Good morning, everyone. Well, if you're just waking up and turning on the stream, there's a few things you're going to want to know as you're heading out for that Monday morning commute. We're going to start with these drive times because they are really starting to increase. Over 50 minutes, whether you're coming in from Gastonia or Salisbury. We are seeing this right here. You can see those cars. They are really moving slowly. Some of them are also just completely stopped, and it's because we have an accident on I-77. I want to get you straight to that. You can see we have red up towards Huntersville, even past Davidson. But once we're heading a bit more north through Mooresville, Mount Morn, this is where we do have one lane that's blocked because of a crash. It's on I-77 southbound at exit 33. I'm going to continue to give you those updates coming up here shortly, but for now we need to take a quick break.
Good morning, everybody. 68 degrees our current temperature around Charlotte, 65 right around Gastonia. Not everyone is reporting temperatures this morning. It's a lot of areas on the case of the Mondays, it seems. And then for this Monday, we are looking at a cooler and a cloudier day and a wetter afternoon is going to be a possibility. Imelda not a concern turning out to sea, and a drier, more comfortable pattern is going to be upon us. So our normal high should be around 79. Nope, not today, 71. And it's the lower 70s taking over because of those overcast skies. The clouds are actively getting thicker and thicker across the area. Might even be a little bit warmer over in Morganton compared to Charlotte as we're awaiting the rain. I think you start to see some spotty to scatter rain showers really after 9 to 10 o'clock, and then it becomes a little bit more widespread heading in the afternoon. not a complete washout for most of us, and then we'll continue to see this rain spiral across the overnight heading into your Tuesday. So some of us could be dealing with a wet start to your Tuesday morning. Jerry Hunt Supercenter 7-day forecast showing that we're drying out, 80 degrees on Wednesday, feeling comfortable Thursday, Friday. Majestic?
Good Monday morning, everyone. Want to let you know about an accident that I am following for you this morning. It's right here. A lane is blocked on I-77 southbound at exit 33. You can see the red that's starting to pop up, meaning that cars are moving rather slowly. At times, I've seen these cars at a complete stop, so make sure you're mindful of that. We'll have more coming up on WCNC Plus. Hope to see you there soon.
Streaming live right now at 8 a.m. right here on WCNC Plus. I'm Ben Thompson.
And I'm Lisa Washington. This morning, a community in Pageland, South Carolina is grieving after a 9-year-old child was shot and killed outside a convenience store. Now 11 people, including 7 juveniles, are in custody in connection to that shooting.
WCNC Charlotte's Richard Devane shares how people in the area say the community is paying the price for the rise in violence.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Ben. Good morning to you. Good morning, Lisa. Good Monday morning, everyone. School has started here at Pageland Elementary School. Grief counselors are also on hand. Parents were notified that they would be here today to help any child or any staff member, for that matter, deal with this latest tragedy. Something that a lot of people in this community say is beginning to happen all too often. Police say someone shot and killed the 9-year-old at the Blue Sky convenience store parking lot in Pageland Sunday morning. Unfortunately, that child died. Police say they have 7 minors and 4 adults in custody after the shooting. As they continue to investigate what led up to this incident, they haven't released those details about any suspects nor a possible motive as of yet. The tragedy, as you can well imagine, is hitting this community hard. Pageland Elementary School, where the child was a 4th grader, has grief counselors on hand today to help classmates and staff process the loss. Parents have been urged, I should say, to talk with their children and to reach out to the school if they need additional support. But residents we spoke with say they're both saddened and also angry that this type of crime continues. And one parent tells us parents are the ones who can actually help to stop it.
I pulled up social media and I saw the headline, and the first thing I thought was, this must be an old headline. This can't be happening again.
Another kid got shot in the leg down here, and another kid got shot on the other side of town the same day within the same hour. It's really sad because I really feel like the parents, because it's younger people that's doing it, so I really feel like the parents are like need to buckle down on their kids because it's horrible.
We're a small town. We're not used to this, I guess is the best way to put it.
And no one should have to get used to that. Of course, at this time, police say they continue to investigate this incident. They're asking anybody in the public who has any information about this crime to give them a call. We're right here in Chesterfield County. This is Richard Devane. Guys, we'll send it back to you.
Richard, you're talking about a 9-year-old victim here. And then we talk about 11 people, including 7 juveniles, in custody. I mean, that would be kids hurting kids. Like, do we know anything else about some of these juveniles?
Yeah, we can actually tell you that they're similar ages, and those adults are just anyone considered over the age of 18 or 21. So we're hearing that a lot of these people are people very young. Now, as far as those juveniles, some of them also go to this school, but at this time, police aren't releasing that information. We'll be very careful about identifying them as well, but we'll hear more about the incident. Now, if they are juveniles, of course, you know, it's common. Police will not give us their names and not release anything other than their ages, and we'd have to find out exactly if the school district will release if they're a member of the school district, but that probably won't happen. So just from what we've heard and who we've spoken to, we do know that at least a couple of them also attended this elementary school.
Yeah, oftentimes juvenile suspects, no matter the case, are often, protected. But,
For sure.
But it doesn't take away the shock and just
of a 9-year-old, yeah,
of a tragedy of it. All right, Richard Devane reporting live for us. Richard, thank you.
Thanks, Richard. A live look right now, 8:04 at Wrightsville Beach, where this morning states of emergencies are in effect for both Carolinas. Now, tropical storms have stayed away from the coast, thank goodness, but we are still expecting a lot of rain today. And here's the thing, we need the rain. Do we need it all in one day? I'm not sure about that. Chris joins us now with the latest on our forecast. But again, those pictures there from Wrightsville Beach.
I'm happy to say that any rain that we have is going to be over a long enough period of time. Now, there is a low chance for a little bit of flooding, but I think we're going to be okay. Our low today is not really too far off from our high temperature as well. We dropped down into the mid 60s and only have highs in the lower 70s because how it looks off in the distance, being honest with you, if you're looking for motivation from Mother Nature for your Monday, we don't necessarily have it because that cloud cover is only going to get thicker and thicker as we work our way through the afternoon because Imelda is close enough to us, and that's also colliding more moisture into a few frontal boundaries, which is keeping some clouds around. And it's not a concern. It's moving back out to sea, but then once we can get rid of Imelda and then completely out of the southeastern picture, then we're talking about a much drier, more comfortable pattern moving in. Rain actively still trying to expand in, but it's taking its sweet time. So I do think you will have a chance of rain as early as about 10 o'clock for around the Charlotte area, really between about 9 and 10 starts to push in around the 485 loop. And then from there, it's just going to be spotty activity on and off as you have more widespread rain starting to push its way off towards the north and west. Just anticipate more and more rain chances as we work our way throughout the day. The further west you go, better chance to stay drier and even see a little bit more sunshine, a little longer lasting. Here is Tropical Storm Imelda. As of the 8 a.m. advisory, it has gained 5 miles per hour, so officially up to 50 mile per hour winds and gust to about 60 miles per hour. This is anticipated to become a hurricane, by the way. It's moving due north at 9 miles per hour. This forecast could have played out completely different. This is actually really lining up to what we had last Wednesday, but then all of a sudden Thursday, there were indications that things were going to drive back into the United States. And the reason why is because of Umberto. Umberto was slowing down. Imelda's wave was speeding up, and that would allow Imelda to kind of follow more of the upper level low and steer here into the United States and even the Carolinas. But instead, it'll push its way to the north and then boom, a quick bend back off towards the north and east. That completely changes everything as Umberto is getting closer and closer to be parallel of Imelda, and that's going to join its wind field, allowing it to zoom back out. It will become Hurricane Imelda officially becoming our 4th hurricane of the 2025 hurricane season, and then even up to about 90-mile-per-hour winds once it's going to be split in the difference right here around Bermuda. Bermuda still is looking to be directly impacted by this. So not everyone is completely unscathed, just letting you know. And then it will be back down to tropical storm status Friday night, heading into Saturday. And then Imelda is just a distant memory. So here's a closer look exactly what I'm talking about. That's Umberto, and this is Imelda. Strengthening, still getting stronger, decent amount of rain, everything's interconnected, starting to blast in, but it's so nice that we have just enough connectivity here, allowing them to drift away from the United States, and then this is also conjunctive, allowing to move back into around the Bermuda area, and then we actually have some drier air that sinks in behind this, so all good news. This is exactly what you wanted to see, the perfect scenario, at least for us here in the Carolinas and the southeastern United States. But we're still keeping rain chances around for today, tonight, heading into tomorrow morning. By your Tuesday afternoon, I think we dry out substantially. Back up to 80 degrees on Wednesday. We should be feeling a lot more comfortable by Thursday, Friday, heading into the weekend as we challenge 80 degrees yet again for the first Sunday of October. Not too bad. And Majestic, we were talking about earlier, something big's happening this weekend. Renfest starts.
I'm going to it. I'm excited. And honestly, the weather is going to be perfect. I know I'm not going to be the only one with that idea to head out for the first weekend. Let's get to it. Drive times this morning. If you're heading off to work, it is going to take you a little while. We do have our typical delays. We also have a couple of accidents to let you know about. Out there, if you're coming in from Belmont, it's going to take you about 30 minutes to do so. I-77 up towards Statesville, not too bad. I-70 through Hickory looks all right as well. We did have pockets of dense fog this morning. Right now, it's not looking too bad. This is where the rain is, so mainly east of I-77. So that means most of us will have nice, dry area roadways as you're heading out the door. We're seeing those backups really starting on I-77, but I do want to take you north of Charlotte. This is where we do have a lane that's currently blocked because of a crash. Again, I-77 southbound at exit 33. That's out towards Mount Morn. So do keep that one in mind. Slow moving traffic, one lane blocked. It's not completely blocked off, so cars can still get through. It's just going to take you a little while longer. And this is our newest wreck here. It's a crash on Sam Wilson Road northbound at exit 29 to get onto I-85. So just make sure you're mindful of that. Those are the two biggest things that I'm watching for now. We'll have another update here shortly. Guys.
All right, Majestic, thanks. 8:09 right now. Coming up, the nation getting closer to a government shutdown again. What's keeping Congress from reaching a deal? 8:12 right now on WCNC Plus, and 4 people are now dead, including a shooter, and several more injured after a shooting at a Michigan church Sunday morning. Police say 40-year-old Thomas Jacob drove his vehicle to the front doors of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints before firing an assault rifle into the crowd. Officials believe he also set the church on fire. Members of the community shaken, but say they are not willing to give in to the violence and to the hate.
I went to church and we were sitting in and they were getting ready to speak. We'd already sang and did our sacrament part, and then we heard a big bang and it blew the doors in the church, and then everything after that was chaos. I want everybody to know that I can make no sense out of this, but if for some reason they think it was going to shake my faith in Jesus Christ, it ain't happening.
As the investigation continues, authorities fear they may discover more victims.
8:13 now. With a government shutdown just 2 days away, President Trump will meet with top congressional leaders today. He had previously canceled talks, calling Democratic demands for more health care funding ridiculous. NBC's Alice Barr breaks down what today's meeting will mean for you.
A critical meeting today in the race to prevent a government shutdown tomorrow night at midnight. President Trump sitting down with the top 4 congressional leaders in both parties as Democrats press to negotiate for their support.
You don't do this by one party putting together a completely partisan bill and saying take it or leave it.
House Republicans already passed a short-term spending bill, but it needs votes from Democrats to succeed in the Senate.
What the Democrats have done here is take the federal government as a hostage.
Democrats pointing the finger at Republicans and holding out to reverse health care cuts and extend subsidies set to expire at the end of the year.
Americans should not see their health care suffer, their premiums spike, and people lose insurance and providers close.
Adding to the stakes, the White House alerting federal agencies that mass layoffs are coming in addition to the typical furloughs if the government does shut down. President Trump saying in an interview with NBC News, quote, "We are going to cut a lot of the people," and that it would be on a permanent basis, though he said he would rather not. Democrats calling it a scare tactic.
They're doing it anyway. There's no shutdown. They're laying off all these people.
It's a burden that can easily be avoided if the Democrats would just apply common sense and do the right thing.
All as federal workers wait to see if they'll be paid and if services are disrupted for the American people. If there is a shutdown, more than 2 million federal workers could see their paychecks stop. National parks would be forced to turn visitors away, and essential workers like air traffic controllers and TSA agents would be ordered to work without pay. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
Flu season is here. Coming up, we're going to connect the dots on why doctors say children are their main concern. 8:17 now, time for us to connect the dots. That's when we make the news make sense. As flu season ramps up, doctors are raising new concerns about how hard it's hitting children. Flu season is getting scarier and more children are bearing much of the risk. Let's connect the dots. Health officials say a rare, severe brain complication may be occurring more often in kids with the flu. We're also seeing a record number of pediatric flu deaths. In the 2023-2024 season alone, the death toll reached 200, the highest ever in a regular flu year. Most of those deaths happened in children who were not fully vaccinated. That's why health experts are urging parents with kids over 6 months to get vaccinated. Vaccines won't stop every case of the flu, but they greatly reduce the risk of hospitalization and death. Parents should watch closely for serious symptoms like confusion, seizures, or sudden worsening, and seek medical attention fast if you see those. Health experts say the flu can be more than a bad cold, especially for kids. Prevention and awareness are key. And that's connecting the dots.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. I'm going to focus in on our forecast, and then I'll switch back over for the next time I'm talking about the weather, talking a little bit more about what will be a quick turnout to see Imelda, but then also Umberto. Now, our WCNC tower cam, if you look directly east, that's where we are, you can see a much thicker cloud cover. Meanwhile, we're actually seeing a little bit of blue sky as our Dallas camera is pointing to the west. This is significant. You can actually see it here on our satellite imagery. For one, darker cloud cover off in the horizon as we actually physically have some rain. So it's really starting over the next couple of hours. Around the 485 loop, we could have our first signs of a light to a moderate rain shower. More widespread the further east you go. That's what you need to know. In general rule of thumb, the further east you go, more rain. Further west, not so much. Because I'm going to enhance this satellite imagery so you can see a little bit more. So what this is picking up on more of the water vapor imagery. Whenever you have that actual white that is completely overcast, but then meanwhile there's a lot of breaks and more of these lavender colors. Oh man, lavender, I love the lavender. We are dealing with a better chance for a little breakage in that cloud cover. That's where you're seeing some sunshine further off towards the west, but rain is moving in. I think we're all going to see pretty much that overcast sky going forward. I want to show you two ranges and two models here for how much rain we potentially could see. Now, number one, you didn't really see too much here. I'm going to rewind it for you. Check this out. Model 1 shows a trace to maybe some areas localized about an inch. This one shows a little bit more consistency, especially the further east you go, seeing as much as about 2 to 3 inches of rain. Realistically, if we're getting that band of rain that I just showed you, where it's really persistent, consistent over several hours and even half a day, yeah, 2 to 3 inches is going to be a good possibility. But we are seeing several breaks in this as we head through the overnight. So I think in general we're seeing up to an inch, but there is going to be a chance of a 1 to 2 or 1 and a 1.5 inch upper threshold range. That 2 to 3, I think, is going to be a big anomaly, but hey, that's still going to be a possibility that we have here on the board. And our rain window is mainly opening up right now until about tomorrow late morning. But I'd really say if I were to pick a time period that most of the rain is going to fall, I think it's really this evening, tonight, heading into tomorrow. Even though we do see widespread rain for the time being, that's where it just seems like it's going to be a little bit closer the axis to around the Charlotte area. Once you get to Tuesday afternoon, we're breaking the clouds. We're starting to head into a drier trend. And today and tomorrow will be on the humid side. After that, it actually starts to feel a little bit more comfortable. We have that comfortable fall-like air with temperatures ranging in the mid to the upper 70s, even around 80 degrees on Wednesday and Sunday. A perfect forecast. Majestic and I were talking about the Ren Fest earlier. A lot of great things to do this weekend. Finally actually feeling like fall. And it's feeling like a Monday for sure, Majestic, so far.
But it is National Coffee Day, so maybe when you're heading out the door for your morning commute, you go and get yourself some coffee. I-77 right here. This is Gold Hill. You can see no problems at this time. It's flowing just fine. Nice, dry area roadways. Remember, we do have some rain in the forecast today, though. So while your commute to work is going to be quiet, your commute later this afternoon or evening, watch for some rain showers. You can see big picture perspective. Some of us actually getting that rain mainly east of I-77. That's where your morning commute could be a little wet at times. That's where we're also seeing some pockets of fog. So yes, keep those things in mind. Otherwise, we're looking at this. We're seeing some slowdowns out on I-485, the inner loop right there near Matthews. I just checked, no accidents there, just more people heading in the same direction. And then I want to let you know about this crash. This is our newest one this morning. It's a crash on Brookshire Boulevard at Cloudman Street. So we'll keep you up to date with that. Otherwise, it is a typical Monday morning commute.
Well, this morning frustration building for the Carolina Panthers after yesterday's bad performance.
That's right. The Panthers were blown out by the New England Patriots 42-13. WCNC Charlotte's Danielle Stein and Locked On's Julian Council talked about if the team can get a win over the next few games.
Sure. Bit of an opportunity ahead with some teams that you said are on similar level as them right now. How can they capitalize on teams like the Jets, the Dolphins, for example?
Yeah, I mean, they are playing the dregs of the AFC East over the next couple of weeks. New England proved to not be one of those today in that 42-13 win. But Miami, who plays the Jets on Monday night, they could be an 0-4 team when they come to Bank of America Stadium on Sunday. So certainly a lot of questions about Mike McDaniel and his status there and whether some of those guys are going to really be engaged if they do lose that game to New York on Monday. So that you would think would be a game, especially at home, because they can't win on the road. They're 2-9 under Dave Canales on the road, that maybe they can get some home cooking, win that game. Don't imagine there's going to be a lot of Dolphins fans who are going to be traveling up to that game. So an actual home field advantage. Dallas, defensively, they've been terrible. So if the offense can click, it should be against the Cowboys. And then, well, the Jets are, well, they're the New York Jets.
They're the Jets.
So, but it's on the road, and they can't win on the road. So maybe those are 3 games you look at, they can win. Do I have any confidence that they will win? Of course, all 3 of them, no. But that they're going to come out 2-1 or in that situation, not really at this point in time, because I just have not seen consistency from this team other than being inconsistent. It's a week-to-week league. It can change very quickly, but through 4 weeks, there's a lot of questions about the Carolina Panthers here in 2025.
Trending this morning, we now know who is going to be performing at the Super Bowl halftime show. It's not Taylor Swift, it's not Adele, it's not Miley Cyrus. Instead, it is Bad Bunny performing at Super Bowl 60. The 31-year-old, one of the world's biggest performers, winning 3 Grammys and appearing in films like Bullet Train and Happy Gilmore 2. Super Bowl 60 will air on NBC February 8th in Santa Clara. All right, we're going to take a quick break as we take a live look right now over Uptown. Keep it here for more traffic, weather news coming your way right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. It is currently 68 degrees right now, just an overcast sky, but rain is starting to move in. Temperatures only moved about 2 degrees over the last 6 hours. It shows the power of that cloud cover. Now, some of us seeing a brighter sky, as you can see off in the distance here. That's areas further off towards the west, but high temperatures likely only in the lower 70s. But notice the difference. It's 71 in Charlotte, but it's actually warmer in Hickory for our highs today. That's because we're anticipating more sunshine and a drier atmosphere in Hickory compared to Charlotte and areas east. Rain already starting to work its way into the picture, and it's especially east of I-77 that we're seeing a majority of this rain, but it really should be on and off showers throughout this morning, heading into the afternoon, and then again later on this evening, and then that should be the final hurrah heading into your Tuesday morning before we start to dry things out. So lower 70s today, that is by far the coolest and the cloudiest day. Still mainly an overcast day on Tuesday as we start to wind things down, up to 80 degrees on Wednesday, feeling more fall-like and comfortable Thursday and beyond heading into the weekend. Majestic, what's going on? At least it's dry for now.
It is. This is I-77 right there in South Carolina, Gold Hill. Good morning to everyone. If you are gearing up to head out the door, well, we kind of have our typical Monday morning conditions. If you're coming in from Matthews, Independence is surely backed up because a lot of people are heading towards Charlotte. It's going to take you around 41 minutes. You can see a big picture perspective. We do still have some wet showers to east of I-77, some wet roadways, but we're also following this crash right here. It's one of our newer ones. A crash right there on Brookshire Boulevard at Cloudman Street. We'll have more coming up on WCNC Plus.
Thanks for streaming live on WCNC Plus at 8:30. I'm Lisa Washington.
And I'm Ben Thompson. This morning, CMPD is investigating 3 separate deadly shootings that happened over the weekend.
WCNC Charlotte's Destiny Richards is live this morning with what we know about each investigation. Destiny.
Good morning. We know that these 3 deadly shootings happened within 24 hours from Friday morning into early Saturday morning. And the incident report that we just received from CMPD, it has a few more details about the locations, about the victims of each shooting. And then we also know that the suspect and the victims did not know each other. Now, going into the details, this first shooting happened Friday morning at the Wood Spring Suites off West Arrowwood Road. Police say 37-year-old Tiara Love Torrey Jackson was shot and killed after a disturbance inside the hotel. Later that day, officers arrested 33-year-old Darius D. Marshall, who's now charged with murder and possession of a firearm by a convicted felon. Then early Saturday morning, just after 2 a.m., officers responded to an apartment complex on Hollow Creek Circle in University City. They found 31-year-old Brenton Terrell Samuels dead at the scene. A 33-year-old man was also shot and is recovering in the hospital. Just 2 hours after that, around 4 a.m., police were called to East Independence Boulevard after reports of shots fired outside a business. And CMPD says there was an altercation that escalated into gunfire.
There were 3 uniformed CMPD officers in marked vehicles nearby working in an off-duty capacity. Those officers immediately responded and found 3 subjects who had been shot.
One of those victims, 31-year-old Sean Taylorson Davis II, later died at the hospital. And we now know a 24-year-old woman and a 30-year-old man are also hospitalized with serious injuries. CMPD says both Saturday shootings remain under investigation, and anyone with information is urged to call 704-432-TIPS or leave an anonymous tip through Charlotte Crime Stoppers. Now, as of 8:30 this morning, we still don't have any information about arrests in those two early morning shootings on Saturday, just that arrest on Friday morning. But of course, once we get any more information, we'll be sure to keep you updated right here and online as well. I'll send it back to you guys in studio.
And Destiny, it sounds like in that first case, at least the Friday case, you said, it sounds like the suspect and the victim did not know each other.
That's right. According to the incident reports, it says, suspect not known by victim. So at this time, it's safe to say that that is what police are saying early in the investigation, that they did not know each other.
Okay, making it more random. All right, Destiny, 29 for us this morning. Destiny, thank you.
8:33 now, a live look at Myrtle Beach this morning. States of emergencies are in effect for both Carolinas. You can see a little rainy out there in Myrtle Beach. Tropical storm stayed away, thank goodness, but we are still expecting a bit of rain for today. Chris has the WCNC weather impact forecast.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. So what a wild ride it has been. So it was earlier in the week. Hey, there's even a possibility of Imelda. Umberto was forming, and everything looked like it was going to do the Fujiwara, try to turn back out to sea. And then it was on Thursday that things started trending towards the United States. And then it was really on Friday it started trending even further off towards the northwest, digging into the Carolinas. Now we are seeing some technically secondary effects here. So all the moisture is coming from the south, and Imelda is south of this. But all in all, it does look like that stationary front is going to continue to feed in more moisture ahead of the system. Meanwhile, Imelda is spiraling right down here, and then we have the brother Umberto, which is further off towards the east. Now, the good news is that the surface map is showing that all of these systems are going to stay further off towards the east, but it's still going to be blasting in more rain. Now, once it starts to lose this moisture source, that's really going to happen throughout really tomorrow morning. We see that rain rapidly start to die out as that front is going to be getting out of here as well. And then we're also going to be seeing the turn from Imelda, really, I would say, over the next 24 hours or so. But this is really just a wild ride and not a typical path that you see. Imelda, as of 8 a.m., so that's the most recent advisory, so just 34 minutes ago, came down with sustained winds at about 50 miles per hour. And boy, is this going to happen fast. Check this out. Whoop. You see that big change over here. So by about 2 p.m. today, calling for it to be about a 60 mile per hour tropical storm, starting to really intensify. And then by some point, I would really say late morning, heading into the afternoon, still steering away from the United States. We're talking about Hurricane Imelda at that point. But not everyone is unscathed, because you can see right in the middle of that cone of uncertainty, ending your Wednesday, heading into your Thursday early morning, there's a chance that there's going to be a direct impact to Bermuda. Now, Bermuda's been very lucky in general from passing Umberto, but something that we definitely want to watch in the near term, because Umberto is actually our big saving grace, because as that was moving out to sea, that's where we really saw a big significant change and a big significant really steering of its path. So I want to show you a different look of this. Check out the tropical storm force winds that are associated with this. You see the two of them, they can join. How rare this is as well, and it's just because Umberto is so strong that it physically is able to drag Imelda away from the United States and back out to sea. So it really just our absolute saving grace. And speaking of Umberto, it actually was a historic storm, because anytime you hit Category 5 strength, it's historic. Officially the second time that we've had a Category 5 in the 2025 season, and only the 8th time we've had a Category 5 storm form, or 26th time in September, excuse me. And as far as our October dates go, it's only been about 7 to 8 times that we've done it in history, only one time in November. So keep that in mind. Category 5s do not happen all the time, and hopefully we do not have another one in October. Next names on the list are going to be Jerry and Karen. Once we get the system out of here, once we remove the front, we're talking about a much better feeling forecast. It's fairly uncomfortable for the next couple of days, a little bit on the sticky side for your Wednesday, but then after that, it is feeling great. That is perfect heading into the weekend. where finally it starts to feel a little bit more fall-like. So we do have that fall-like, cooler, crisp air starting to return. That also means some chillier lows as well, where we have 53 to 51 to a 50-degree low on Saturday. So we will be feeling a little bit of that chill starting off in the mornings. But hey, it's a price that we pay for a beautiful feeling afternoon, not calling it humid and muggy like I am today once we get to the end of the week, heading into the weekend. So a lot of things going on, Majestic, for this weekend. Perfect weather on the way.
Oh, it's going to be fantastic. A live look outside, though, for that Monday morning commute. It is a cloudy start to the day, but hey, at least right now, those roads are nice and dry for that morning commute. This is I-77, 277 right there by Uptown. Upper 60s if you are gearing up to head out the door. Want to let you know about a couple of ongoing problems right now. We only have 2 accidents in place. Not the best news, of course, but typically during this time of the day, we have a handful of ongoing wrecks. This one here is bringing some minimal impacts to crash there on Brookshire Boulevard at Cloudman Street. And then just to the south, want to show you I-77 because we're seeing those delays. The orange here means that traffic is moving rather slowly. That's what we just saw in my live camera shot there. So do keep that one in mind. And then another one just south of Berry Hill, seeing some minimal impacts there. It's actually about to wrap up that secondary one. 485 out towards Matthews at red there, indicating stop and go traffic. Again, no accidents there, just more people heading in the same direction. And if you're waking up in Gaston County, good morning to you. We have all green until you head just before Belmont. That's I-85 inbound. Again, no wrecks, just people heading towards Charlotte. That's the latest update for now. We'll have another check on those area roadways coming up here in a little while.
Majestic things coming up. Many parents rely on childcare after school, but what if it's not available? We're going to verify if it's okay to let your kids stay home alone. Busy parents juggle a lot during the work and school week, so childcare, it really can be a lifesaver.
But if childcare falls through, is it okay to leave the kids at home alone after school? WCNC Charlotte's Megan Bragg verifies.
When it comes to specific ages for leaving kids home alone, the American Academy of Pediatrics suggests around 12 and older is a good time frame. So how do you know what's right for your family? Let's verify. Our sources to answer this: family physician Dr. Carla Robinson and North and South Carolina law. In the Carolinas, there are no laws outlining a specific age for a child to be left home alone. In North Carolina, the only regulation is the NC Fire Code. It states if someone leaves a child under the age of 8 home alone and they are hurt by a fire, that person could be guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. When making a decision for your family, Dr. Robinson mentioned several factors to consider outside of age.
Can they communicate effectively the emergency information that's needed? Do they know their full name? Do they know their address? Do they know their phone numbers? Do they know the full name of guardians, the full phone number of a guardian or parent?
When it comes to starting out leaving your child at home, Dr. Robinson recommends practicing before longer periods of time away.
You may want to do very short trips. So maybe, while you take a short walk or while you make a quick run to the store, that's, under 10 minutes or so, just to get your child used to what it feels like to be home alone.
With your Verify, I'm Megan Bragg.
And if there's something you'd like us to verify, all you got to do is email us at verify@wcnc.com. Coming up, Majestic has a check on your Monday morning commute.
One year after Hurricane Helene tore through western North Carolina, downtown Boone turned remembrance into resilience. The Hope After Helene event on the anniversary brought together neighbors, artists, and advocates for a day of healing, reflection, and unity. WCNC Charlotte's Anna King spoke with the attendees who say it's not just about looking back, but how far the community has come since.
Hope After Helene turned the streets of downtown Boone into spaces of healing 1 year after the devastating storm. The day began with a community quilting project demonstrating patchworks of memories, pain, and hope.
Quilt square that I'm making, I'm recreating a picture of our barn that actually got picked up by the water and was ripped in half. And I haven't looked at that picture very much since then, so it's kind of bringing back a lot of those emotions.
Those emotions stitched into each square alongside the comfort of sharing them with others.
This is, where the water has come through the mountains and it's ripped open these roads and bridges, and yet immediately what everyone did was go to start fixing them and go to start finding each other and connecting with each other.
Later in the day, residents attended a community resource fair.
But there's also a large emotional toll that this storm has taken. So even when there are big storms, like we had a couple of nights ago or even last night, it makes people anxious that another storm might be coming.
So residents were provided a space filled with poetry readings, recovery services, and group discussions about rebuilding emotionally and spiritually.
And that's kind of what this event's about. People that live through it and are still recovering themselves, but also looking to help neighbors at the same time.
The day also saw live music from local artists, keynote speakers, and community.
So amazing that we could go from something so intensely broken to so full of community and love for each other.
I think if anything, we're a stronger community today because of Hurricane Helene.
So proud of everyone, how we've all come together. And a year seems like it wasn't long ago, but also like it was so long ago at the same time. And I am really thankful that I can now stand up here and say, at least immediately after Helene's anniversary, that we aren't talking about Imelda or Umberto affecting us, because that's the last thing that we need right now. We're still trying to recover. We don't need big time systems, because there were some indications last Thursday and Friday this could be a major deal for the United States and here in the Carolinas. Now, it's just a wet day instead. Now, this is kind of a secondary effect. Moisture still pumping up. Imelda's starting to drive everything in here. But this is really just moisture that's extending from a front that is right along the shoreline that's bringing some scattered rain. So really starting, I would say, in the next 1 to 2 hours, Charlotte, you're going to open up your window of opportunity for an overcast day with on and off rain throughout the day. Now, some of us, especially the further east you go, expecting rain for hours. And we could have some rain totals upwards to about 2+ inches. And I was showing you this earlier for a satellite and radar. We're really starting to see a lot more of these brighter whites here. That's picking up on a thicker cloud cover overall. So how much rain that we're going to see here, it depends. Just running through a couple of the model runs, I think it's the upper threshold that we could see up to 1 inch of rain, but don't be surprised if you have a few more lulls that'll be a little bit closer to about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. So those rain totals are all over the place. It just really, sorry about that, just depends where you are. Current temperatures right now up to 69 degrees. We're now starting our warmer trend, but things are now starting to wind down. As you can see for our headlines, all in all, we don't have to worry about Imelda. Imelda is moving back out to sea. All is well associated with this, and then a drier pattern starts to check in next week. So here is our surface map showing that front just along the shoreline, wedging in all that moisture in for the time being. And here's Tropical Storm Imelda, the most recent update, 50-mile-per-hour winds. It's slowly starting to intensify, and it's becoming a little bit more organized. It'll really help once it gets past Bermuda here. But meanwhile, its counterpart, Hurricane Umberto, is well into Category 4 strength again. What we're actually looking at is that eye wall restructuring itself, so it's going through that cycle yet again and allow it to weaken down to 130 miles per hour. Now it's back up to 145, so it's going to try to challenge Category 5 strength before it starts to weaken once again. So looking at that possibility, didn't really factor in, this is the national hurricane data that comes in, that secondary intensifications, but I do think once you get a little bit later on in the afternoon, it's going to start to come down again. Typically, you hit the peak, and even when that eye wall starts to restructure itself, it isn't as strong as it was before. But the good news is there will be secondary impacts just to the surf right here along Bermuda, right in the middle of the Atlantic, but thank goodness they're not going to be impacted by a major hurricane directly. Doesn't mean that they're still not going to be impacted, because Tropical Storm Imelda, because it is going to be caught up in the wind field and the general shift of everything, allowing it to steer directly away from the United States, turning into Hurricane Imelda before you know it. But then sadly, it does look like there could be a direct hit for the island of Bermuda anytime between about Wednesday evening heading into Thursday morning. So still a lot can happen here. We've seen how much the system has changed, but it's all having to do with Umberto. So let's call Umberto the big brother, just saying Imelda, leave the United States alone. However, still going to have its vengeance trying to work its way towards the Bermuda area. I'm really hoping things change here, but just one last little bit of meteorology. You can see how these two are working together, where you have this one wind field that's connecting everything. They start to separate themselves as Umberto will speed off toward the northern Atlantic, and then Imelda eventually will dissipate following suit. We are so lucky here. I am very thankful that it changed. It's not about being right or wrong. We showed you the different scenarios. A lot of things changed. This was the first scenario, and this was the best chance. So thank goodness that I'm standing up here not talking about weather alert days or anything major. Just actually good news, at least for us here in the Carolinas. And now I'm always hoping for good news for Majestic's traffic report, but we're not always so lucky.
All right, everyone, let's get to it. We're going to start with this perspective. Want to show you 277, I-77, or right around Uptown. You can see all of this red right here and orange, just meaning lots of people are heading in the same direction. I just double checked to make sure that there is no accident there on 277, but there's not. You can see traffic moving onto the ramp to get from I-77 to 277 is moving rather slowly, though, so that's just what I showed you on my map right there. Again, no new accident or anything like that. I think it's just a busy time of the morning. Big picture perspective again. If you're watching from Hickory, good morning to you. You have dry conditions. I-40 continues to look all right. I-77 for the most part, not too bad unless you're really right around the 485 loop. That's where it's going to be the worst. We do still have a couple of accidents here. This one right here is active. There's a crash on Brookshire Boulevard at Cloudman Street. I've been following that one for a while. No new updates there, but this one is new. It's on Beatties Ford Road at Trinity Road. It's kind of off to the side right there, so not too concerned with it, but I'll have another check on roads coming up here shortly. But for now, let's send things to Larry Sprinkle.
Good morning. It's Monday time for our Carolina Trivia, and here is the clue. Started in the Carolinas and known worldwide. It began in Winston-Salem. In fact, that's a picture from back in about 1937. We're talking about Krispy Kreme, the first donut shop. Opened July 13th, 1937, right there in Winston-Salem. We know all about those Krispy Kreme donuts. The most locations, California actually has the most with 42, Florida 32, Georgia and North Carolina with 27 apiece. So once again, Krispy Kreme, that's today's trivia. Started in Winston-Salem back in 1937. I'm Larry Sprinkle.
All right, folks, we need your help. We're looking for our next hometown hero. With the help of Charlotte area Hyundai dealers, we're recognizing a current member of the military, a service member, or a veteran. Head on over to WCNC.com/hometown hero between now and October 12th to nominate somebody. If they win, look at a brand new Hyundai Santa Fe. All right, well, it is Monday morning, so it begs the question. Do you like your coffee hot, iced, plain, black, sugar? Whichever way is fine. Celebrate, though, because today is National Coffee Day. Professional coffee tasters, also known as cuppers, say the perfect cup must have aroma, body, acidity, and flavor. Now, while there are, of course, different accounts of how the first cup came around, as far as most historians can tell, coffee was first brought over when it was called New Amsterdam or New York by the Dutch or British. So go ahead and grab that second cup today.
And here's how you can score some free or discounted coffee today. Dunkin' offering a free medium hot or iced coffee when you order through the app. Krispy Kreme offering all guests a free medium hot or iced coffee and the free donut of choice with no purchase necessary. Starbucks will give you an extra 100 bonus points if you order through the app when you buy any coffee that's brewed in any size.
All right, celebrate responsibly. All right, keep it right here on WCNC Plus. We take a live look inside our Live Impact News studio. Jay Monreal standing by with a look of the day's news and everything else that's coming your way right here on WCNC Plus.
Well, good morning, everybody. Rain is now on our doorstep. Won't be surprised if you start to see an uptick of the rain around the Charlotte area over the next couple of hours. On and off rain is going to be a possibility today. And when it's not raining, I think it's going to almost feel like it's going to rain. Not a lot of sunshine going on around Charlotte. Really, it's just looks to be an overcast gray day. So the extra case of the Mondays. And we'll continue to see this rain be on and off through the overnight heading into your Tuesday morning. But then after that, we should dry out for your Tuesday afternoon. Mid to the upper 70s to around 80 degrees. After that, feeling a lot more fall-like. Majestic, take it away.
All right, good morning, everyone. We have been seeing a lot that's going on this morning out on those area roadways. A couple of things to let you know about. This is I-77 at 277. If you're going to be traveling right around uptown, the ramp right there, it's moving rather slowly. No wrecks, though, just a lot of people all heading towards that area. Again, watch for some wet roadways, mainly east of I-77 at this point. Again, more rain later in the day. And then this is an active crash that you may want to know about. It's right here on Brookshire Boulevard at Cloudman Street. We are seeing some impacts there. Hope you have a great day. Take it easy.